Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Faiza Possible, your African village girl. In today's video, I'm gonna be taking you through a story of one of our grandmothers right here in the village. We call her Jaja, so I'm just gonna take you through her story, and I request you watch to the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and of course comment. For almost every young girl, their dream is to grow up into great women, start their families, raise their children, and get old with their husband as they enjoy the fruits of the children. Unfortunately, this is not the case for our grandmother, Jaja, to be precise. Today, I take you through a story of one of our mothers who has been rendered homeless, let me say, because where she's living right now was just offered to her by well wishers. And you can't believe this was someone who once owned a lot of property, who once owned a lot of things, who once had land and everything. So today I came to her home to cover her story, and let's jump right into the video. So this is Jaja's house. This is where she's living right now. It's a single room offered by one of the LCs, the local councils in the village. In today's video, I'm with a grandmother right here with me. She's called Louisa, and she's just going to be sharing with us her story. And I pray that this can actually help some other person. This is actually her veranda. We are just in her home. Let's just jump right into the video. Jaja eri mabeli eyo iwe matiwe manya tekedwa bwendike tulire mabeli eyo nyingi tena nyingi tena wija niki Jaja manya ibeli kati tida story beli donge kesha kati kibeka we kima malemene chiki record then I could push I look kai beli kai la kesha I came to stay here because I was deeply and greatly angered. I was accused of being a witch and performing witchcraft by brother-in-law and his wife. That angered me so much, and I decided to move away from there. I decided I will not stay there but move away and look for jobs or any work outside that locality. So before you left your home, what made them accuse you of witchcraft? What made them call you a witch? They accused me because of my property and the things that I was getting from the garden. I had planted a lot of cassava and groundnuts worth 20 sacks, which is an equivalent of almost 2 tons. And they saw that as bad. They started accusing me that I'm a bad person. They further said all the yields that I was getting from my produce was due to the effect of a local herb, a local traditional herb that I was using in order to bring the high yields from the garden. At the time, I was raising 2 non-biological kids who belonged to my husband, and in addition to them were 3 kids of my brother-in-law who gang up and started fighting me, saying that I should give my produce to them. They wanted me to give them a full garden of cassava, and I refused to give them because it was out of my hard work that I had achieved all that, yet they wanted it so freely. I told them, I cannot give you a full garden. However, we can all feed from the same garden. You can go harvest a portion for food. I also go and harvest a portion for food. And if you want some for making liquor, it's all okay. You can always go and harvest from there. However, don't use the full garden harvest for making liquor. At least eat some and use the rest for making the liquor. They refused and started saying they're going to use the produce as if they owned it. I rebuked them, saying, no, it belongs to me. We can just share from the same garden, but you cannot own it. At the time, my father-in-law was alive, and he also directed them and said they can all follow my directives and we share the same produce from the garden, but they should not use the whole of it for making liquor as they wanted. For their sake, they wanted to use the whole garden of cassava for making liquor, not for food. This, however, caused a lot of commotion, and the wife to my brother-in-law refused. When she refused, I also didn't mind. We just had to leave the issue at that. However, that sparked a lot of commotion that cost me my home. We continued living in the same home, happily, of course. However, I didn't know she had already developed long-term hatred for me because of that incident. I continued with my hard work and kept on harvesting high yields of produce from my gardens. And she was not doing any farming or any garden work at all. This made us so jealous because of my produce. She kept saying I was not achieving my success through the yields because of my hard work, but because of the traditional herbs that I was using to bring me the yields. From this, I received recognition from the whole village and community that actually have been using traditional herbs in order to bring me yields. In all this, I kept focused and continued with my hard work in my garden and kept receiving high yields from my produce, making her even more jealous about me. She then reported me to the local authority that actually have been using traditional herbs in order to get healed, and also that I'm a very big witch. The traditional local leaders at their level tried solving the matter amicably, but it did not work. They told her she was accusing me falsely. They should let me eat my things on my own. Let me enjoy the fruits of my labor by myself. The situation calmed a bit. I was able to raise my kids up to a certain level. We lived with them very well, but she still kept her hatred at me, and she started fighting me again. So I decided I cannot live in this community. I rather move out of this place where I'm going to be in a more peaceful environment. So I decided to leave my village, my husband's home and everything. By this time, my husband had died. When he was alive, he protected me, he defended me, he told them I do not have any problem witchcraft-wise. I am not a witch, I've never practiced witchcraft, and he knew those people were just accusing me falsely. They had moved to different prophets in the village and they found I was very innocent. The situation even became more worse after my husband's death. Everyone pulled off every support they were giving towards me in this situation, and I was left alone. All stakeholders tried to solve this issue amicably, but to no avail. They finally advised that I leave the village. They are very aware that I'm innocent, but since they failed to solve the issue and the woman kept on bringing up the issue against me, I also decided to leave. I went to my brother's home. However, his wife started accusing me on the same issues that I'd run away from. She mistreated me so much in that she didn't want me to speak to my own brother, neither her own children. And so she later chased me from her home. I packed my things and left. This brother's wife of mine is a woman I once fed. I actually reminded her that, oh, you used to come to my home to get food. I used to feed you, and now you're chasing me from my home. She, however, harshly told me that I was a bad person, I was a witch, and that I should leave her home. Sadly, my own blood brother did not side with me. He sided with his wife and did not support me. So I told him, you either choose between I or your wife. But if you choose your wife, I'm definitely going to leave your home. And that's what I did. I assured him that in the world of today, wherever you go, so long as you remain humble, you can survive there. It's unless you have bad manners, you treat people badly, you're not a good person, that is when you find difficulties if you go to a new location. But if you're a nice person, you can survive. One of my sisters and my brother went ahead and uprooted all the plants I'd planted in the garden. They uprooted my cassava. I told them, I'm only alone. How do you think I can finish up the whole land? Because they were saying that I was using up their land, but they could not accept. I decided to leave and move to another location. I say to myself, I'll go to an unknown land and establish myself when I get there. I'll still plant and do my farm work as all days. When I moved out, I still carried on my garden work and I received high yields as usual. Before I knew it, they started sending their children to me to come for food and also beg me to go back home because somehow their conscience had started telling them that actually I was innocent. However, the people in this new location where I was said I should not go. They once chased me. I also refused to go because they once never wanted me. They humiliated me and let me leave my house. So why should I go there? I decided to just live here. And that is why I'm still living here for all these years. I'm not saying that I want to go there completely because you do not curse land. However, I'll take my time before I go there. After long consideration, I thought of going back. I honestly wanted to go back at one point, but I imagined when I go back, I'm going to be laughed at, I'm going to be receiving the same humiliation I once received. Then I made up my mind not to go back there yet. So, yes, I'm staying here now. I won't say all is well because I suffer a lot. I go through a lot of suffering as I'm staying here. I get help from well wishers, including my children who buy me food sometimes. When I first moved to town, I was so lucky to meet an old friend of mine who decided to house me in her home. She said because of the good times we've shared in the past, she would not let me live a homeless life, so she welcomed me in her house. I don't have any relations with her. She's called Beta. Beta is my all-time friend with whom we lived when I was still living in my home. We used to share foodstuffs like beans, cassava while in the village with Beta. I would give to her children and they would take to her and she would do the same to me. So Beta would get food from me and she would use the cassava she gets from me to make liquor, which she used to pay her children in school and raise them as well. But it was not long before I left Beta's place. My grandchild decided to move me to this area because he said he is now living near me. If anything, I should come live in the same area with him. So I had to leave Beta's place. But also, Beta's grandchild had also started fighting her, claiming she's taking care of me, adding on to their burden. In her defense, she told the grandchild that actually this person had once taken care of her as well, so she's simply returning the favor. However, they could not understand that. I had no choice, but I had to leave them. While at Beta's place, I was not paying for my rent. I was not paying any penny to Beta. I was simply living in a house because it's through me that she raised that child and even took the child to school. However, when I moved to Paida, that is where I started now paying money for rent. Since I moved to this village, I've been paying my rent. The people are so loving. The village is so loving. All is really ongoing well. I can't complain about this new place that I'm in. For all these years, everything has been fine, except for this particular year where have faced lack of food, especially in this area because of the hiked food prices. Uh, the rent has been varying. At some point, we paid $5. It later increased to around $7. It later went up to $10, then it reduced back to $8. Now I'm just paying an average of around $5 per month. So in general, the rent has been changing, but currently it's even moving up and it's becoming more expensive. As I speak right now, I'm actually defeated because the rent is too high for me. I am not farming, I'm not doing any activity, which makes it hard for me to pay my own rent. The house owner then decided to make me live in the house for free. As I speak right now, I'm actually not paying a penny to live in this house. He just decided to let me stay in the house for free. I have very few sources of income. I used to get some money from my children and sometimes the government support that is given to the elderly in community. That is how I've been getting the money. So I would use those to pay my rent and live. Currently, the money is not even there, which makes eating and living very hard. I basically depend on the government support, which is an equivalent of $30. And this comes once in a while, once in a long time. I don't have any piece of land on which to plant, neither do I even have the energy to plant, and that makes work quite hard for me. I still feel and want to go back to my home and my village. However, I am still very angry. I was so humiliated and I don't want to go there. I am still very hungry because of the humiliations they threw at me. But I know one day I'll calm and forgive all of them. When I forgive them and I become peaceful, I'll be able to go back there. But if I'm still angry at them like I am right now, I'm not going to step there. I know some people suffer in the world because of nothing, but I don't really care or worry or have any concern for anything. I'm a very free person. My grandson, who has been supporting me and giving me money, is even no longer giving me any money. So things are really hard for me. I know it just could be God's plan. I have really gone through a lot. I've gone through a very terrible situation. And now as I speak, I don't have any money. I don't have money to feed myself. I don't have money to fetch water. I don't have money to carry any activity. Even the house I'm living in, it's just by the mercies of a well-wisher. There are days I stay hungry the whole day. I stay hungry and sleep hungry. But it could be just God's plan. I have no control over that. Once in a while, a few people extend help to me. My neighbors and people in this community, they give me in terms of food. Some go fetch for me water, but it's not always. It's just once in a while. Guys, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you guys learned and liked something about this. For me as a person, I believe a mother like her or somebody of her age shouldn't really be living outside her matrimonial home, you know. And but these things are happening in societies, right? They're happening in our communities, they're happening in our villages. How I wish, you know, things can change and, you know, they change for the better of a person like this one. Otherwise, I remain Faiza Possible. Just stay tuned for next and many more amazing stories to come. If you haven't subscribed, kindly do subscribe, like, share, and comment. Until my next video, bye-bye.